loves, welcome back to my channel. So this is actually part 2 of the Q&A that I did before this one, where I asked myself 4 questions right after I had filed for divorce. So I felt like these were very valid questions that I wanted answers to them myself, but I definitely feel like they are helpful for someone that's watching, and hopefully gives you a clear vision of how I was able to go through all that I went through in the previous videos. You got to watch the series if you haven't already. And be in the state that I'm in right now, a happy, healthy, loving state that I'm in right now. And so we're going to pick up on question number 3, which is, what have I learned? What have I learned since getting married, since getting separated, since going through a divorce? Like, what have I learned? So going back to my notes, you guys know I wrote notes. It says, if there is a lack of communication and comprehension in the dating stages, there will most likely be lack of communication and comprehension in the marriage. So y'all, I know oftentimes, and I feel like I'm guilty of this too, where in the beginning stages, the dating stages, I felt like I could change him. And it wasn't even necessarily that I think I was trying to change him. I was like, if we both do the work, like, we can improve, right? And so it's like, if we're going to couples ministry, if we're staying in church, and if we're reading our word and we're doing these things, like, it will naturally improve, right? Question mark. And so something that I feel like is a very key thing is someone has to want to improve their communication and their comprehension skills. You cannot will someone into wanting to do those things. And so for me, it's like, if I feel like my communication is, top flight, like prior to getting married, I felt like I would shut down. Like, if I felt like my point wasn't being heard and no one was listening, I would just shut down. And so something that I told myself going into my marriage is, you can't shut down. Like, this isn't just a boyfriend, girlfriend. This isn't just dating. Like, you are in a marriage. So you have to make a point to talk it out and talk your feelings. And so I made very intentional steps to do that. However, I didn't know that it would be met with such resistance. And so because it was met with such resistance, then that's when I started to retreat. And so then it was just like, okay, now I'm walking on eggshells. Now I'm not saying anything because, like, you're not listening to me. You don't want to hear me out, or you're about to chop off my head and cuss me out. So therefore, I'm just not going to share. Which brings me to the next point, which kind of ties into that one, is you can't change someone, period. And that is literally what I wrote in my notes. Another thing that I wrote was, you also can't change someone who doesn't see a problem with their actions. Yeah. That's a big one. Trying to overly communicate, because at this point it was like overly communicate that their behavior was toxic or not healthy or whatever, but literally getting looked at like I was crazy, getting told I was crazy, or like, this is just how I am. I heard that very often. Like, I got PTSD from that. Like, this is just how I am. Like, accept it or don't accept it. And it's just like, okay, I don't want to accept it. we just get to that point where it's like, okay, I don't want to accept it. And so for me, that's a crucial one, because for me, I'm always in a state of evolution. Like, I'm always constantly evolving. The person that you met, heck, sometimes even last year, last week, yesterday, I'm not that same person today. I'm always constantly evolving. And so for me to be constantly evolving, but then to have someone that has that mindset, which is, I'm who I am, this is who I've been for almost 50 years, take it or leave it, like, that doesn't work with somebody that's constantly evolving and someone that constantly wants to improve. Like, I want to be better in all areas of my life, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, in the future again, right? Like, I want to always constantly be improving myself and evolving, and I don't want somebody that's fine being stagnant and or keeping their toxic and unhealthy behaviors. So another thing that I learned was that it is not my responsibility to do their healing work. That is crucial, because I believe in the beginning of the dating stages, I thought it was my responsibility to take him on my healing journey. So the same way that I'm constantly evolving, I'm constantly in a healing state. So for me, I don't want to be identified just solely by my trauma, okay? I want to constantly be healing through it, above it, moving forward, right? And so for me, I thought like, oh, I'm healing and I've healed through all of these things that I've been through, right? Come on, follow me. I can show you the way. And the reality is like, they gotta want to heal from their stuff. You can't force somebody to heal. Again, you can want it for them, but they gotta want it for themselves. And so for me, that is something that I've learned, that like they have to already be actively working on their healing. And that is a personal job. That's personal. So something else that I learned is you are not asking for too much. You are just asking the wrong person. I know if y'all look, if we were sitting here, y'all would probably be giving me a high five, right? Like, let me know in the comment section, like, am I touching on anything that y'all feel? Like, just let me know. So as a newly divorced woman, a woman that is open to dating, I feel like this is very helpful to look back on and even to talk to you guys about it, because they say when you know better, you do better. And y'all, I'm trying to do better, okay? I want to do better. I want better for myself. And so for me, that's something that I learned, that I was not asking for too much. Like in most cases, like y'all, I probably was asking for the bare minimum. And that goes back to the first Q&A video, which is like, I was probably asking for the bare minimum, although I've never been a bare minimum kind of person. I always do 110% or more. And for me, it's just like the bare minimum is not enough. I don't want the bare minimum. So an example of that is I remember constantly asking like for my husband to date me. It was like, okay, you did what you needed to do to get me, but now you're not doing what you need to do to keep me. Like when I tell y'all I'm so simple, I'm simple to the fact that like I love the ocean. I love water. I love experiences. Okay. I love traveling. I like hiking. I like seeing sunsets and sunrises, right? I like stuff like that. Now, I live in the state of California. If y'all know the state of California, besides putting like some gas, which okay, gas is really expensive right now, but otherwise you can do a road trip and go somewhere and all you need is gas. And so for me, it was like I was tired of asking for the bare minimum, like date me. I'm tired of watching you watch TV. Like, hello. And although yes, I'm an introvert, and although yes, I love staying in my house and I'm a homebody, there were moments where it's like I want a moment with my significant other. We should be growing together and getting to know. We should be doing a check-in, like, hey, do you like me? Do I like you? What could we be doing better in this marriage? That's things that I like to do. And so for me, it was like it was pulling teeth. It was like the worst thing in the world that I was asking for. And so something else that I learned or that I put in my notes was, you're not crazy. And so I felt like for, you know, almost 5 years, because that's how long, you know, we would have been married, I felt like I was crazy those 5 years for wanting the bare minimum, the basics, heck, respect. That was the bare minimum. So yes, that's something that I definitely learned. Like, you know what? You ain't asking for too much, sis. You know, you was just asking the wrong person. So something else that I learned, and it's from one of my favorite people. She's like top 1 or 2. It's from Dr. Maya Angelou, and it's the quote that says, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Y'all, can I just look? I just want to dance, shout. Y'all, like, stop trying to repaint what they done already showed you. Believe them. So now for me in 2022 and even in 2021, what you show me is what I take. Like I'm taking you at your word. So if you say you don't like X, Y, and Z, I'm believing you don't like X, Y, and Z. And if that conflicts with me, then I'm just gonna go about my way, right? But I'm no longer trying to stay and fix it and work it out. No. Whoever you show me is who I'm going to believe. And so what would happen is during the marriage, I would see certain things and then I would question it. And when I questioned it, it was like, oh no, no, that's just my old trauma, or that's just, you know, because of my childhood, or because my daddy wasn't there, because my ex-wife did. And it was always excuse after excuse after excuse. And I'm just like, okay, right? But now it's like, if I see something and if you tell me something, I'm believing it for what it is. I'm not even questioning. If it does not vibe with my spirit and my soul, I'm moving on. So the last thing that was on this list, because you know I got a different list, but the last thing that was on that list was, I am the prize. And I think that that's something that I did not know going into my marriage, is you're the prize. You are the prize. And so when I look over my marriage and I see how much growth I experienced emotionally, spiritually, financially, well, the financial part, I feel like, no, I was blessed financially during the marriage too, but more so after the marriage. But even then, it was like, sis, you are the prize. And it makes sense why he was attracted to you and why he wanted to leech on you, is because like, you got it going on. You know? And so once you realize like you didn't want to be a part of his web anymore, then of course he had to go find another supply. And so that's what he did. But sis, like, you still the prize. So yeah, those are things that I learned having gone through a marriage, gone through a divorce. So yes, the next and last question is, what did I gain? So the first thing that I put that I gained was a more intimate relationship with God. So it's interesting to think that today is actually the 10-year anniversary since I was baptized. And so I do not take that lightly. By far one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And even having gone through everything that I've gone through, like, I knew it was for a divine purpose. Like, this whole process, my whole testimony, I know it's a divine purpose. So for me, the intimate relationship that I had with God in the marriage, but I would say more so going through like the separation and going through the divorce, like, that is something that I truly treasure, because there was a moment where it was just God and I for like, I want to say I literally did like 40 days, or I think I did over 40 days of, you know, praying and writing, and I can't even say I was really fasting, y'all. I just wasn't eating. And so just that moment and those moments of clarity with God was just so powerful. So something else that I gained is I fell back in love with myself. So I feel like, you know, as a kid, like, I wouldn't say I had self-confidence or that I knew like my self-worth. This has come over time, and honestly through my relationship with God and knowing who I am through Christ is how this confidence and everything has come about. And so I'm glad that I had taking things away. Like, I wasn't on social media. I wasn't really talking to anyone except a few select people. And I really just kind of focused on just my relationship with God. And I redecorated my space. You guys see I redecorated my room, my house, my office at work. Like, I just did a complete redecoration because I felt like that would reflect the person that I am today. And so before, I remember like the house was just super dark. It was gloomy. And now my home is more warm and it's like, it's lively, and it just feels authentic to me and the woman that I am today. So another thing that I gained was peace. Like I told y'all in the first video, man, not having peace will stress you out in like the worst ways. I remember I was so sick during my marriage, and I thought it was just like work related and maybe even like family related, but in general, like, it was just everything. Like, I did not have peace, and so therefore my body physically was sick. And so the peace that I have now, child, I'll cut off anybody for it. And I'm just being honest, like, you will not come in and disturb my peace, period. I'm not gonna allow it. What you're not gonna do is coming into my space and disturb my peace. So I'm very protective of me. I'm very protective of my peace because y'all seen how hard I had to fight for it. But not only did I gain peace, I also gained joy. I am the happiest that I can ever remember in my adulthood life. Besides having my son, I'm at I'm at that space where it's just like the joy I have. I don't even remember this kind of joy getting married, because you figure there was so much stuff happening that looking back, like, it wasn't the best. It definitely wasn't the best marriage, right? So now the joy that I have, which is being happy and content with where I'm at right now, with my constantly evolving relationship with God. I'm thriving and flourishing at work. I'm setting boundaries when it comes to family and dating and friendships. I have a solid tribe. I have my kid and a puppy girl. And so yes, like, ultimately, like, I just feel so elated, so joyful. And so yes, that's something that I gained. So something else that I gained was strength. They tell you, what's the quote? You don't know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. I believe that that's how that quote goes. That saying is true. Okay. When I see you guys' comments, and thank you guys so much for all of your beautiful comments. But when you guys wonder, like, how did you get through it, or couldn't be me, just any of those various comments, I truly tell you guys, it was nobody but God. So something else that I also gained was love in different forms. For me, I think I got so wrapped up in wanting love in the partner form and the husband form, right? It wasn't that I didn't know I had love in other forms, but I didn't realize how crucial they would become until I was going through this devastation. And so for me to see my tribe step up and just love on me and pour into me, and my job, oh my goodness, my job, whew, they came through in like some major ways. And there were different people at different moments of time. For the ones that did know, like my big boss, like just colleagues that stepped through and was just like, we got you. For those days where I was just like completely, what do they call it, despondent, I think that's the word, where it was just like I was a shell of myself. I'm walking through the halls, but like, I don't know who you are, which way you going or coming. Like, I'm just here to do my job so I don't get fired, because I got bills and I have responsibilities. But in reality, like, my mind is not here. And so they really like walked with me through that time and was like, we got you. If you need me to do something, if you need me to take care of this, I got you. And so for that, I'm so grateful for just the amazing people that that came through during those times. But back to my family and my friends, like my tribe, as I call them. So like during that time, that's also when I call them my family, my friends / family, they had moved to Texas. And so while I'm going through this very devastating thing, I'm also, I won't say like losing, but like distance wise, I'm losing a part of my family. And so I remember like when they would come out here to visit, they would make sure to stop by my house. And so I remember my sister was like, yeah, I can't just talk to you on the phone. I can't just see you through FaceTime. Like, I need to see you face to face, look you in your eye. And so although I wasn't like dealing with anybody, basically, she made a point, or they made a point, to actually come and visit me and to hug on me and to love on me and to, just be there with me through that time. And so, I had my mama, my other mama, like I just had, people that just truly supported me during that time. So something else that I also gained was a clear vision of my future. So I've done vision boards before, but I did a vision board in 2019, and that vision board, I feel like, it included everything. And so that vision board is in my closet to this day, because I just kind of make a mental note of, okay, I did that. Okay, I still need to check this off or whatever. And it's interesting to think that in 2019, I was still married. I did not get divorced until 2021. But on that vision board, let me look at it. I believe, because I'm doing a quick glance, I had a wedding ring on there. And I believe there was also a married couple. And I guess, and I'm not even gonna say I guess, I knew in my heart of hearts that my marriage was not going to last. And so for me, I put that vision on my vision board, right? And so now, being 2022, I still look at that vision board and I'm still so proud of it, because that is the vision that I have for my life and that I'm using like guide me to where I want to be. Of course, knowing that if it's in God's will, you know, he'll allow it to happen, and if it's not, he's not. But having gone through this divorce truly made it clear, like, what do you want? And what do you want out of life? What do you want in a significant other, in a partner, in a husband, hopefully in a future father? Like, what do you want? So interestingly enough, I feel like I've learned in reverse, because I've gotten everything that I didn't want. And so now I have a clearer version of what I do want, and I'm hopeful and prayerful that I will get that in the future. So hopefully this Q&A, along with the previous Q&A, gave you guys some insight and maybe some like positivity. I know that the first couple of series were pretty heavy and deep, right? And then hopefully this part came in and, you know, you were uplifted, empowered, or something, to know that I am good, y'all. I am in a good space. I'm in a happy space. I'm excited for what God has in store for me, and in store for, you know, my family in general. And so, yes, if you guys have any more questions, definitely feel free to put them down in the comment section. I don't know what video is going to come next, but just know, stay tuned. Maybe I might give you guys a hair review. We'll see. So yeah, maybe I'll try to sprinkle that in between some of these videos if you guys have any questions. And so thank you guys so much for everything, for your love, your support, your comments, everything, your encouragement. I truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys in my next video.